Okay.
Okay. I think we're getting set.
You're ready.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm thrilled to be here and honored to be here on International Women's Day. It's been a super busy day for me because last night we had a cultural share night with refugee women that were attending the University of Utah that were speaking. And I had to get henna because if it's a celebration that includes refugees, you got to have your henna. So I've got my henna on, which is awesome, and I'm ready to go. And I hope you realize what a gift it is that we can be friends with so many women from around the world. And I have the wonderful opportunity in Salt Lake City and in Utah to come to know a lot of beautiful refugee women. And I want to share a little bit of their stories. I'm going to click to my next slide, and hopefully you can see where I'm pointing, but this is my dear, dear friend Naima, and this is her sister Sabrina. And this is us at a speaking event together. And so I just want to acknowledge my great admiration for these women that left so much behind. Naima came when she was 14 years old and had not had any schooling and was dropped into a high school as a 14, 15-year-old with no educational background and was forced to make her way. And she now has her master's degree, which is really awesome. Her sister Sabrina now works at a community center that I collaborate with. So I have these beautiful women from around the world that remind me to be resilient and grateful for what I have. It's interesting as I have become friends with these ladies. I'm laughing because this picture of these these Sudanese women, they look so serious. But just before that, they were hooping and hollering and smiling. But when you take pictures of them, they're very serious. And this is Apiel, my good friend. These are women from an organization called Women of the World. And what I've discovered is these women become my dear friends, and their kids become my kids. Another beautiful thing is I get to spend time with their kids. This is actually my daughter who has become great friends with Jolie. And it's just an awesome opportunity to be able to engage with women from around the world in my job. This is a picture of my friend Bisa. And what you don't know is in this picture, I actually was trying to carry a box on my head and it didn't work out very well. So I carried mine on the side, but these women are really remarkable, and on this International Women's Day, I really want to pay tribute to the beautiful friends that I know through the job that I have and the many opportunities I have to learn from them and grow from what they have to offer. So I give this talk a lot about how to engage with refugees, and this has some Utah specific things, but it can be shared in so many different ways with people from around the world, just having a better understanding and across the United States about what we can do to make a difference. And one of my favorite sayings that I like to share is you can't do everything for everyone, but you can do something for someone. And it's my hope that in this presentation, you will have a better idea of, or maybe some inspiration of what you could do to make a difference for someone. So another interesting thing is I think our goal at Utah Refugee Connection is to give people information. And the more information you have, I think the better the inspiration you can have. Hopefully some of you also agree with that. Sometimes we really want to do something, but we don't know really what we can do. And so one of the things that we do is we try and share information, especially about refugees, so people can be inspired to know what they can do. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what a refugee is. And the technical definition is here, and it says, a refugee is someone who, owing to a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, and membership of a particular social group or political opinion, is outside the country of his or her nationality and is unable to, or owing to such a fear, is unwilling to avail themselves to the protection of that country. Now that sounds like a very technical definition. So I tried to put pictures down here below that emphasize the fact that these people aren't choosing to leave their countries. It's not a choice for them. They're not thinking, oh, I want to go to Asia, or I want to go to the United States, or I want to go somewhere because it just sounds like a better place to live. They actually are being forced out of their homes because of their religion. It could be because the father was employed by the wrong person. And it's important to note that these people didn't just go, oh, I think I want to head to Italy because it sounds nice. They really, truly could not stay in their homes. I'm going to give some interesting facts about refugees worldwide that are interesting to know. First of all, there's about 65 million displaced people in the world today. That's a lot of displaced people. That means 1 in 122 people has been forced to flee their home. Something that might resonate with you as moms and caregivers is more than half of these children, or more than half of these are children, and women and children are the most vulnerable populations. A lot of people think, oh, well, they can go to refugee camps and they can be there for a couple weeks and then they can find a new place. But honestly, many refugees have spent years, decades, sometimes even generations in refugee camps before they're given the opportunity for asylum. And I think that's something, before I started this work, I didn't realize that, there are refugee camps that are as big as cities, and that these people frequently don't have great educational opportunities. They don't have work opportunities, and they're just stuck in limbo because they don't have opportunities frequently to work in the country where they're residing. So they're forced to be in these refugee camps where they're not always given opportunities. The legal process that takes place for people to be granted resettlement in a safe country frequently takes 2 or more years. I know some people that it's taken longer, as long as 8 years. And the United Nations High Commission for Refugees are the people that decide. And only 1% of refugees worldwide are ever resettled in another country. So kind of interesting statistics. In the last couple of years, the refugee crisis has exploded, and there's so much instability, and new numbers came out that 34,000 people are displaced daily. That's frightening to me. Think about 34,000 people every day, and especially mothers and children not knowing where to go. And then a side note, and I put this in the PowerPoint, in 1 year, the US takes in only what is displaced in 2.5 days. So to me, that's really quite remarkable that, we seem to think, oh, the US probably takes a lot of refugees. Really, we don't. 54% of refugees worldwide come from Somalia, Afghanistan, and Syria. But it's interesting, the US is not one of the top hosting countries. It's actually, we've got Turkey here, Pakistan, Lebanon, Iran, Ethiopia, Jordan, and those are countries that are close in proximity to where these crises are going on. But look at, the world's displaced people are being hosted, a majority of them are being hosted in the Middle East and North Africa, and only 12% are being hosted actually in the Americas. So we really don't take on that many refugees. Now, I know this might not be as interesting, but you can think about maybe where you live and the population density and learn from the statistics. But in Utah, particularly along the Wasatch Front in Salt Lake, we have 60 to 65,000 refugees. They come from 20 different countries. They speak 40 languages. Usually every year, Utah resettles about 1,200 refugees, and 70% of those are women and children. It's interesting with this new presidential administration, our numbers will be cut down to about 300 refugees being resettled this year, which is a little heartbreaking because there are families that still have members of their families stuck in these areas of crisis that can't leave or in refugee camps. Salt Lake is unique because we resettle a lot of women at risk. That means women that are single mothers that don't have maybe a husband or have been very vulnerable in their own countries. People frequently say, well, where are these refugees coming from? And they really come from many different places. In Utah, we have some from Iraq, Somalia, Nepal, the Congo, Afghanistan, South Sudan. One thing that's unique about Salt Lake, and we have the opportunity to help with foster care for refugees that are coming as unaccompanied minors, which to me is heartbreaking. We have lots of kids that come that have lost parents in conflict, or when their villages were attacked, all the families separated and the children were never able to reconnect or find their parents. And so Utah actually has an unaccompanied minor program where we have about, it ranges from 85 to 100 unaccompanied minors that are in foster care. We also have one school district that actually is the host to almost 70% of the refugees in the state. I want to share a couple of videos, and the reason why I like these videos is they really are good at illustrating who and what it's like to come to a new state. This is my good friend Naima that I introduced in one of the first slides, and this is her story about coming here from Somalia. And I'd really love you to maybe think about what it would be like for her to come and what she's been through. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you.
My family left Somalia at the time of civil war when I was about 6 months old. They were forced to fight. Many women were raped. Children were left just on the road because everybody was trying to escape towards safety. We sought refuge in Kenya. We spent 15 years in the refugee camp, and that's like my whole childhood. The refugee camp, it was very dark. I could see that children in Kenya were going to school, and as a refugee, I didn't have that opportunity. I felt very hopeless. Everybody was desperate to meet their basic needs, food and water, and it wasn't enough. One day, me and my cousin had to walk miles for water. A man who was, he had a long knife, and he just pulled it out. And he said, "Pull your water down, or I will kill you." The United Nations granted us to come to United States when I was 15 years old. It was very frightening to fly for the first time. We didn't know how to speak English. They asked us multiple times, "Would you like anything?" We just kept saying, not even a word no, just shook our heads. We just didn't eat for the whole of our journey to America. When we were resettled in the United States, it was very unfamiliar to me. I was placed in a 10th grade for my first time to be in a formal educational setting. I felt lost most of the time. I had volunteers. They came twice a week to my house, not only teaching me and my sister how to read or how to hold a pen, but also going over the concept that I learned in school. they believed in me, and they handheld me throughout high school, made sure that I had funding to go to college. I was admitted to University of Utah and also went back and did a master's in social work. Currently, I work for Sully County. I help refugees to become in-home childcare providers. My long-term goal is to go back to refugee camps and create self-help projects for women and children. People can make a huge difference in a refugee life by being friends with them, mentoring them, show that you care, and that will make a huge difference.
So this is a great reminder to be the someone for someone, especially someone that's new and maybe facing challenges. One of my favorite things about Naima is she's Muslim, which I really did not know a lot about Islam, and I frequently have questions, and she's opened the door to let me ask her questions, and she asked me questions about my religion, and we have these beautiful conversations, which I love. You know,
Where's the other home?
Oh, someone's not muted. So hopefully you are now. Let's see, who's got kids? It must be Jessica. We still like you. So key players in refugee resettlement, for not only in Utah, but around the nation is Catholic Community Services and the International Rescue Committee. So if you're interested in finding out opportunities to work with refugees near you, that's a good place to start. The other thing you can do is Google refugee resettlement in your city or in your area, and I bet you will find information. And one of the things I want you to know about my organization is we exist solely to connect people to opportunities to work with refugees and also to fill refugee needs. So I'm kind of like a service broker or an old-time operator, that if someone has service needs, what I do is I go out in the community and I find ways to match up what is needed in the refugee community and people that want to help with those needs. Or I'll have people that come to me and say, hey, I'd really like to do something with refugees. Here's my skill set. Do you know where I can go? The other really cool thing that we do is we offer opportunities to drop off things at our share house. We offer opportunities to work with not just my organization, with lots of refugee organizations. But like I said, my best suggestion is to gather information and then have inspiration as to know what to do. So I want to show you one other video clip, and this is a video clip that's a little bit older, but it's of the Lost Boys of South Sudan, and a clip of what it was like for them to come from their country and then go to a new country. And it starts with them in their original country, where they've been residing, to their journey to get to the United States. And I hope you'll find it as fascinating as I do.
People go to the river with containers to draw water for themselves for busing. They want to take busing.
There's something called apartment. I've never met, and I've never seen it.
Shower. How does it look like?
What does a shower look like?
I've never
This is
used
something
electricity.
new.
So I imagine it is really very hard for me to do.
No electricity. They've
In
never
the United States, we had this only one wife. This thing's going to affect us.
Okay, so this culture is typically polygamous. So that's going to be a
The
new
food
thing.
we got in the flame
Okay, so they're
was not really
scooping
good
the
as what
jam
we
out to just
used to
eat
be
the jam. And they're saying the food does not like in Texas, which is the refugee camp. He's eating butter. I mean,
It is like soap,
he
you know,
doesn't know
it's all-
what it is.
I don't know if it's soap or bitter. I just see because people say it's food, But when I try to
But
test,
you can
it's
see how
like so much.
butter in the
And
square
even
shape
now I
would look
cannot
like.
tell.
So
Is that
it's
milk?
also very
Is that
processed.
milk? Is that ghee? I cannot tell.
This is mayonnaise. He doesn't know what to do. This is also new. So it kind of gives you a reference. This is in their apartment,
In Africa, you use just to cook it, you know,
and they're finding out what's in their
Yeah,
apartment.
they make
showing them
different
potato
stuff. No,
chips.
yes, they make it in a different way. They call it chips. You know, they slice it, they fry it, and they put it in a bag. Okay?
It's ready.
It's already cooked. Yes.
It's already cooked. They're shocked by that.
Right, it's yours. Everything here has belonged to you.
So they're saying
We
everything in
do
here is
not
yours.
throw things away through the window. We put here, press this, push.
They've
we
never
close
had
down,
someone
right.
come take their garbage.
Yeah.
These are these are donuts.
These are colored sprinkles that we decorated with. Want to try one? Want to
Never
taste
seen
it?
a donut.
Yeah.
It look like this.
Seem like you're fascinated.
It's so new. And look at the way people are looking at him and how you would feel. And maybe what you could do to make people feel more comfortable.
That is Xenopus. Xenopus. And how does it connect with the verse of Jesus Christ?
I think many of us have so many questions to ask, but I think we have few people to answer them.
Which is really sad. Few people to answer all their questions.
Everything is different. Everything is different. It's kind of irritating because people know you're from Africa. They say, "Oh, are you from Africa?" Yes. Some people they say, like, "Do you live in the forest?" Nobody's born in the forest. You can't live in the forest. You have to live in a house.
This is really fascinating.
In the United States, people are not friendly. You can find somebody walking in the street by himself, don't even talk, You cannot go to the house of somebody who you don't know, though you are all Americans.
Sad.
You call the police, why this guy come to my house? And I don't know him. But in Sudan, they can ask you, have you got lost? Are you new to this place? They can ask you. You say, I'm new to this place. They can show you where you are. You can even talk with them. It is important we ask them, how do people work in this area? How do people feel when you ask somebody, now can you show me a way? How do we feel, That's difficult. You cannot even ask him because these are different people. Huh? That's really difficult. I don't know. How are we going to be acquainted with this life? It's a great change, actually.
So I'm curious if this has gotten your mind thinking about maybe the beautiful things they can help us understand and how they may feel when they come here to the United States. I think these videos are really helpful because the more information you have, the better the inspiration of what you can do when you encounter someone that's new, what you can do to help refugees. I always say one of the best things you can do is to genuinely mentor and friendship a refugee. They need people to show them where to go. Like this individual said, we don't have anyone to ask our questions to. And a lot of times people are afraid of someone that's different than them. But I encourage you to maybe have a little courage and reach out and see what you can do to make a difference to this very unique and beautiful population. I want to talk a little bit about my organization and what we do. So we have a really awesome following, especially on social media. So we run a social media feed called Serve Refugees on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we feel like the more information we give and the more specific we are about what the needs are in the community, the better the responses of actually getting the things that we need. So something that we have really cool going on right now is we're collecting Mother's Day kits. And we're very specific. We show a picture of exactly what's needed, what we're putting in it, and then we allow people to drop them off. Another cool thing that we have, and if you follow our social media feed, even if you're not here in Salt Lake City, we post frequently items that we have on a Serve Refugees Amazon registry. So we have people from all over the nation that maybe aren't close to working with refugees that actually get on our registry and look for things that they can purchase. They come directly to us and we get them to the person in need. So, which is really awesome. So we always encourage people to follow our Serve Refugees on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And something that's new that we just barely started is we started a page called The New Americans of Salt Lake. And if you're not really familiar with refugees, it's a super helpful page. We post a picture of a refugee and then we also tell their stories. So you can become more familiar with, you know, refugees and where they've come from and what their struggles are. So I encourage you to maybe take a look at that. And even if you're far away, you can still find things you can do that you could where you could help refugees, and follow our social media feed, and then also do things off of our Amazon registry. I want to close with a video by Angelina Jolie. This was her acceptance speech for a humanitarian award, and I hope you can relate as a mother to the things that she shares. So let's see. We got a little hiccup there, but here we go.
I have never understood why some people are lucky enough to be born with the chance that I had to have this path in life, and why across the world there's a woman just like me, with the same abilities and the same desires, same work ethic and love for her family, who would most likely make better films and better speeches. Only she sits in a refugee camp, and she has no voice. She worries about what her children will eat, how to keep them safe, and if they'll ever be allowed to return home. I don't know why this is my life, and that's hers. I don't understand that, but I will do as my mother asked, and I will do the best I can with this life to be of use. And to stand here today means that I did as she asked, and if she were alive, she'd be very proud. So thank you.
So I love her thoughts, because I think we can all relate to being a mother, and we can relate to the feelings of being an advocate for those that maybe don't have a voice to be an advocate for themselves. And as the director of the Utah Refugee Connection, I have the wonderful opportunity to get to know women from all parts of the world and to hear their stories. And I'm shocked and surprised and amazed at their beauty and resilience. And I frequently think of this quote from Angelina Jolie that says, "I will do the best I can with this life to be of use." And it's my prayer that you as women who want to make a difference in the world will find ways to reach out to others, and you will find a way to do the best you can in this life to be of use. And it may be with refugees, or it may be with other projects that you have going on, but it's been an honor and a privilege to be here on International Women's Day, and I send a salute to all the women of the world that are trying to make a difference. Thank you.
So what we build on average maybe